Good morning, everybody. Yes? We're going to talk about the backpack today. My guest needs no introduction. New York Times bestseller, Emmy winner. I was just going through, and she's syndicated in 18 different countries now. Her award-winning show on CNBC. She's on a crusade to make America save and do the right thing. People listen to her because obviously her ideas are profound. They make so much common sense, and yet so many people fail at these basic principles of common sense. It's a real pleasure to have her, to take about 45 minutes with you, answer as many questions as you have, and then finally she'll have a book signing opportunity. So if you want to, obviously you can jump into that opportunity as well. Without further ado, please welcome warmly Suze Orman.
Thank you, Patrick. Oh, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is. How are you, Google? So, let's talk money, yeah? Let's talk money. You know, what I find fascinating is that I am sure, look at you all with your little things in front of you, right? All you little tech heads out there that are changing the world. You're spending all your time doing whatever you can to make this company be the greatest company in the world, which it is. You've done a very good job in doing that. But what have you done for yourselves? What have you done for yourselves with the money that you are making? If I were to ask you how many of you have credit card debt, in fact, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should ask you all to stand. If you have credit card debt, car loan debt, student loan debt, mortgage debt, stand. If you do, stand. Let's see, stand. You can sit. So here's the problem. I came to talk to you about money, but I can't talk to you about money because you don't have any. So let's start from the beginning and why maybe you should listen to me rather than anybody else and what we can do about your financial situation. Now, as I look out there, it occurs to me that a lot of you may be wondering, why should we be listening to Suze? She's up there, she's seriously rich, what does she know? And by the way, I'm so glad I am. So glad I am. It's like, what does she know about my situation? Well, just because I happen to be in California, I just briefly want to tell you where I got my start. It was here in California, Berkeley, California, on the corner of College and Alcatraz in a little restaurant called the Buttercup Bakery. After spending 4 years at the University of Illinois, in 1973, I came out to Berkeley, California, where I lived in my van on the streets on Hearst Avenue there, because I did not have the money back in 1973 to be able to afford a first and last month deposit on an apartment, and rent was only $200 a month back then. So I was living in my van on the streets for 3 months until I landed my dream job at the Buttercup Bakery, right, for $400 a month. Now, I wasn't just a waitress for $400 a month from 1973 to 1974. Oh, no. I was a waitress making $400 a month from 1973 to 1974. To 1975, to 1976, to 1977, 78, 79, 80, when now I'm essentially 29 years of age. All right, are you doing the math? Are you trying to figure out how old I am right now? I'm about to be 59. I look good, don't I? So anyway, here I am, all those years being a waitress, and I get this idea. that I can open up my own restaurant and all I need is $20,000 to do so. So I call up my mother, I ask for $20,000, and she says, Susie, honey, that's more money than we have to our name. We can't give you that kind of money. I go into work the next day. A man by the name of Fred Hasbrook comes in. He said, what's wrong, sunshine? I tell him the story, how I want to open up my own restaurant. Before I know it, I leave there with $50,000 in checks and commitments that all the customers had gathered together and gave me because Fred went throughout the restaurant that day and told them how I was upset because I didn't have enough money to open up my own restaurant, and they backed me. Now I didn't know what to do with that money, and so I'm told to take it down to Merrill Lynch in Oakland and open up an account till I can be helped to open up my own restaurant. I go into the account at Merrill Lynch, and again, to make a very long story short, all $50,000 was lost within 3 months. And it was lost because I had a crooked financial advisor. And I was just listening to what this financial advisor was telling me. Now, I didn't know what to do. So now I thought, I know, I can be a broker, they just make you broker. So I went and I got a job at Merrill Lynch. They hired me simply to fill their women's quota. I walked in with pinstripe pants, red and white, tucked into my white cowboy boots with a blue silk shirt. I thought that would be a good dress because that was my fanciest outfit I had. And they looked at me, and they had never hired a woman before. This was 1980. And the manager said, you know, Susie, I'm going to hire you. I'm going to hire you, but I'm here to tell you, you will be out of here in 6 months because I personally believe women belong barefoot and pregnant. His name was Peter Sansevero. Anyway, so I'm hired there, and as I'm working for Merrill Lynch, I'm reading the code, studying to be a financial advisor, that what my broker did was illegal. He couldn't invest my money in such a way that I could lose it when that money was there to be safe and sound so I can open up my restaurant. So I went in to tell Peter that he had a crook that worked for him, and Peter said to me, Susie, that crook makes us a lot of money. You go down and you sit in your chair and don't you say anything. I went and I sat down in my little cubicle on my little chair, and I thought to myself, well, Peter told me that I would be out of here in 6 months, and this was 4 months into it. He told me that I didn't belong here. Now I could sit there and I could do nothing. But what happened with Randy, who was the financial advisor, and what he did to me wasn't right. Now I was young and I had time to make back that money to pay everybody back. But what if it were your parents or your grandparents or somebody who didn't have the time to make it back? It wasn't right. So right then and there, I decided to do what was right versus what was easy, and I sued Merrill Lynch while I was working for them. Now, what was great about that is because I sued them, they couldn't fire me. They couldn't fire me. And 2 years later, I was their number 6 producing broker. They had fired Randy. They gave me back all of my money plus 18% interest because that is what money markets were paying back then. And here we are, everybody. The story begins. So from that, what I took was that it is always better to do what is right versus doing what is easy. When one door closes, another door opens up. And if you are going down one road and you find you are going in the wrong direction, just remember, God permits U-turns. What I found from that is that it's important to understand your goal in life and do what you feel really fulfills you. But what's equally as important is that every single one of you in this room is making money. And by evidence, by the fact that you all stood up when I asked you, or almost all of you, do you have debt? What does that say about what you are doing with the money that you are making? So you are going to have to make a decision And I hope you make that decision right here and right now to start giving to yourselves, financially speaking, as much as you give of yourselves. You work for a corporation that is one of the, if not the most generous corporation I have ever seen, bar none. Now, I am not just saying that because I'm standing here at Google. Trust me, if I did not like their benefits program, I would be saying it right here, because I don't care. I only care about one thing. I care about you and what you're doing with your money. My career has been made not by telling millionaires what to invest in, not by going after those that are really affluent, but by helping America, who doesn't have a pot to pee in, to create something for themselves and their family and therefore the world. So you are my audience. You are the ones that I care about. Because of you, I'm that wealthy woman. Got that? So we have to start with, what do you have here that you're not taking advantage of? All I can tell you is that every single one of you in this room have the opportunity to be investing in your 401k plan. Your 401k plan, as you know, matches dollar for dollar up to $3,000 of what you put in, 50 cents up to $8,250 of what you put in. I don't care if you have credit card debt. I don't care if you don't have an emergency fund. I don't care if you don't have any money whatsoever. If you are not taking advantage of your 401k, you are making one of the biggest mistakes out there. The most important ingredient in any financial freedom recipe is time. When you have time on your side, then you have the ability to amass incredible amounts of wealth. Let me give you an example. You're 25 years of age. You start putting $100 a month away right now into this account. And you do so every single month until you are 65 years of age, for 40 years. With normal market returns, when everything turns back to normal again, do you know at the age of 65 you would have $1 million? But let's say you say to yourself, it's fine, I'm still young, I don't want to put my money away right now. I want to wait. What difference can it make if I wait until I'm 35? If you wait till you're 35, $100 a month is only $1,200 a year. $1,200 a year for 10 years is only $12,000. What difference can it make? Well, let me tell you, if you start at 35 rather than 25, when you are 65 years of age, you will have only $300,000. Those 10 years cost you $700,000, and that is at $100 a month. Do it at $200 a month, $300 a month. And we are talking about serious sums of money, everybody. Are you with me here? So if you are not contributing to your 401k plan, you are making a serious mistake. The sooner you begin, the better. However, now listen to me closely. Google, like most corporations, only contribute up to that point of your match that I told you, the $3,000 or the $8,250. The next question then becomes, after the point of the match, where Google no longer matches your contribution, what should you be doing? Here is your plan of action. After the point of the match, if you have credit card debt, or you do not have at least an 8-month emergency fund, you should stop contributing to your 401k after the point of the match and first establish an 8-month emergency fund for yourself. Why? What have we just gone through, everybody? What have you just seen in the years 2008, 2009, And if you think it's going to get a whole lot better, 2010, 2011, and 2012, I'm here to tell you I don't think so. I think you will see that the economy is starting to recover. We obviously did not go off the deep end, but that came at an incredible price. That came at deficits that are beyond our wildest imagination. And while everybody can say that these deficits, it's all right, they don't have to be paid back, you all stood when I asked you if you had debt. Who is going to pay your debt back for you? Is some magical entity going to drop down from the skies and say, here, I'll take care of your mortgage. Here, I'll take care of your credit card debt. Here, I'll take care of your student loan debt. You are going to have to do it. And what happens to you when you don't make those payments? Ring, 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 ring. Creditors coming after you, everybody wanting your money, the credit card company shutting you down, everybody foreclosing on your homes, everybody taking your cars away from you. You have got to stay responsible, do you not, to the money that you owe. You are the ones who have to keep your budgets in balance. The same is true with the United States government. And somehow this is going to come to play for all of us. The way it's going to come to play will be in increased taxes. Everybody has been told that, and it's going to happen. Therefore, how do you make a plan so that you can make more out of less money? First plan has to be, listen, this is a great company. This is a company that I hope continues to expand and we never experience layoffs, but it's not just about this company. What if you get sick? What if you become ill? What if you can't work? You need at least an 8-month emergency fund, 8 months of expenses that you know you have to pay if you don't have a paycheck coming in, so that you will be okay. After the 8-month emergency fund, you now need to start paying down your credit card debt. Why does Suze Orman want you to have an emergency fund before you're paying off credit card debt? I'll tell you why. The banks, especially the large banks, if you happen to have an account with Chase, Citi, Bank of America, you may love that you're banking with them. I don't like those banks. I don't like those banks at all. Because when it comes to credit cards, even if you have been on time, even if you have never gone over your credit limits, even if you have an incredible FICO score or a credit score, do you know that they have increased your interest rates almost across the board to 29.99%? They have increased the minimum payments that you're able to make from 2% to 5%. And in many cases, when you pay off your credit card debt, they are shutting down your credit altogether. So here's the question. You're being good citizens, you pay down your credit card debt, and now these companies close your credit cards because they no longer want to give anybody credit. At the same time, you no longer have a paycheck coming in because maybe you've gotten ill or whatever's happened to you. How are you going to eat? How are you going to function? You don't have any credit cards anymore to be able to do cash advances because today the credit industry has changed. So here's my advice to you. If you happen to have a credit card at one of those big banks, you need to start taking your power back, people. You need to start saying to the financial institutions in the United States of America that you deserve to be respected. You deserve to get more out of the money than you are getting. One way you can do that is you should open up a credit card at a credit union. By law, federally chartered credit unions cannot charge you more than 18% interest on your credit cards. If you want to find a good credit union credit card, you should all go to creditcardconnection.org. It is the only legitimate site out there that if you put in your zip code, up will come the credit unions close to your zip code that you can join to possibly do a balance transfer to. Many of these other sites that list credit unions, the credit unions pay to be on those sites. So there's a lot of hocus pocus behind those sites, so be very careful as to where you get your information. By the way, as I'm talking, if you have any questions whatsoever, go up to those microphones and ask them as I'm speaking. Because the truth is, good luck finding another Suze Orman that's going to stand up here and talk to you that doesn't want anything from you. I don't have an account to sell you. I don't have, I don't want you as my clients. I only want you to be the financially free people that you deserve to be. So, let's summarize here. If you have a credit card at one of those major banks and you're going to keep it there, then you are far better off having an 8-month emergency fund before you pay off that credit card debt. If, however, you are smart and you do a balance transfer to a good credit union, and not all credit unions are good, then after the match in your 401k, then pay down your credit card debt if it's at a credit union, and then your 8-month emergency fund. If you're going to stay at a major bank, 8-month emergency fund, then pay down your credit cards. Yes?
How do you feel about a home equity line of credit versus that cash cushion of 8 months emergency?
You have got to be so seriously careful right now with a home equity line of credit, I cannot tell you. And the reason is this: home equity lines of credit are secured by the equity in your home, if you even have any equity left in your home. The interest rate on your home equity line of credit is attached to being 1 or 2% above the prime rate. The prime rate is always 3% above the Fed funds rate. Now, currently, the Fed funds rate is at 0. So home equity lines of credit are great. I can tell you there will come a time when the Fed funds rate starts to go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. We saw that happen a few years ago when the Fed funds rate was at like 1%, and all of a sudden it goes up to 5.5%. And now home equity lines of credit are 9, 10, 11% interest. And that happened, and people freaked. So I would not at this point in time have a home equity line of credit that I am using. I would want to find another way. If you need money or whatever, I would rather see you at this point, because as of yesterday, the feds have decided that they are no longer going to be buying mortgage-backed securities. What that means to all of you is that you are going to probably see interest rates for real estate increase by about 1%. So the low interest rates that you have been enjoying on mortgages, if you're about to buy, you did buy, that's about to go from 5, 5.5 to 6. So that will affect home equity lines of credit as well. So I would rather see you refinance your house if you have to. Lock in the low interest rates today. Take the money out, lock that in. Do you see? And then not be subjected if you need that money. Right? Yes?
Hi. First, I want to say, hey, girlfriend.
Hey, girlfriend.
And
He obviously watches the Suze Orman show.
I wanted to ask about mortgage. So my husband and I have a pretty large mortgage. It kind of makes us nervous. But our Smith-Barney advisor and our accountant say, don't pay down the mortgage because you're making more in investments, so you should keep the money there.
Stop.
That's why I'm asking.
Did he make you in the year 2008? Did he make you money on your investments? Or did he, like most people? Now, if he did, then let's tell every single person in this room his name, including me, and let's go open an account with him. But he says, Smith Barney broker, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There is no way that he made you money unless he had you in cash. And he couldn't have you in cash, because if he had you in cash, he couldn't make a living. and he couldn't pay his mortgage. Do you understand? So you have a financial advisor telling you, oh no, you can make it far more in the market. You're down 40%.
Right.
Remember, when something goes from 100 to 50, that's a 50% decline. For something to go from 50 back to 100, that's a 100% increase. So even though the markets went up since March about 62%, and now it's pulled back a little, you're still down. Because were you continuing to dollar cost average? Were you doing those things? Maybe yes, maybe no. And I can tell you, he has you in loaded mutual funds, right? Does he have you in mutual funds?
Some.
Some?
Yeah.
So, but here's the bottom line. You stood up and you said to me, your mortgage makes you nervous.
Yes.
It makes you nervous. A good financial advisor would say, it makes her nervous. What's the goal of money, everybody? It's not to make you nervous. It's so that you can sleep well at night, so you can be the powerful people that you're meant to be, so that you can work here with all the power. And when your supervisors or your bosses see that you're coming to work with all this power, guess what happens? You get a job promotion. You get a pay raise. If you're somebody who's constantly nervous and you're freaked out because you don't have enough money to pay your bills, do you think your bosses can't feel that? Of course they do, and that keeps you from making the money that you want to make. So I would tell you that, listen, if you are going to own this home for the rest of your life, are you?
Probably for the next 20 years.
All right. If you want to pay down your mortgage and you want to get rid of that mortgage payment, you should absolutely do so. I do not know one wealthy person who has a mortgage on their home. I have 5 homes, and if I can't write a check for one, I do not buy it. And I have all these accountants that say, but Susie, you're not getting the tax write-off. You spend $1 to save 30 cents. You're still spending 70 cents to save that 30 cents. I want to know in my life that if you all stop buying my books, you all stop watching the Suze Orman show, you all stop wanting to even look at my little face anymore, I personally don't care, people. I just don't care, because my life won't change, and that makes me more powerful, which attracts more people to me. I would think twice. I would think twice about you having this particular financial advisor as your financial advisor.
Thanks, Susie.
Anytime. Girlfriend. Yes, over there.
Hi, Susie. My question is regarding a property that I bought 4 years ago. So it's in Washington State, and I live here. I'm losing about $9,000 a year on it. And
Is it underwater?
yes,
So you owe more money on it than it's worth? Meaning, if you were to sell it, right, you would actually owe the mortgage company more money than what you could get for it?
no,
Then why are you keeping it?
I don't know.
Here's my advice, get rid of it.
But if I get rid of it, I'm going to lose about anywhere between $100,000 to $140,000. I have a problem.
You right now, right, are losing $9,000 a year, right? Do you think that really in 10 years it's going to come up to the value of what you think you're going to lose? It's an investment property at this point in time. If you sell it and you could somehow do it right with tax-wise, maybe you have a tax loss there, whatever, but is it really worth it for you to spend $9,000 a year on a property that probably isn't going to increase in value for a long, long time? Why is real estate not probably going to go up? That's a question you should all be wondering. Listen, everybody, a year ago, real estate looked like it was doing great. In essence, real estate had stopped going up or stopped going down. A lot of people were buying real estate. Do you know, when asked, 50% of the people who purchased real estate last year purchased it only to take advantage of the $8,000 tax credit that the government was offering. That tax credit was supposed to expire November 31st of last year. Why do you think they expanded it till April 30th of this year, you have to be under contract, closed by June 30th. And why do you think they expanded it not only to that, but they expanded the amount of income you can make so more people could take advantage of that? Because they knew that the only thing holding up the purchases of these properties and real estate throughout the United States was the tax credit. Once the tax credit goes away, at the same time, we're no longer backing and buying mortgage-backed securities, and interest rates on real estate start to go up. Do you really think that is an environment for people to buy real estate and to continue to purchase real estate? The only thing that makes Google stock go up is what? People are buying it. And they're buying it because they see your earnings are good. Everything's good for the company. They like the management. They have faith in it. And they're investing their money in it. And the more money they invest in it, the more the stock goes up. The same is true with real estate. The reason real estate prices skyrocketed, especially here in California, was that everybody was allowed to purchase real estate with no money down. They didn't have to qualify for any loans. They didn't have to have any income. Everybody was rushing in to buy real estate, which caused the prices to go up, and then everything collapsed. It's going to take a long time for these prices to go anywhere other than flat or possibly down again. So you just have to decide, right, what makes financial sense. Wishing, praying, and hoping is not a financial plan. Now, on the other hand, if you can afford the $9,000 and you have that $9,000 deficit and you'll own the house outright, just let's say in 15 years, and that therefore would then make up the $150,000 that you put down or whatever, then keep it. And then you're even at that point in time. Figure out the numbers and do what the numbers tell you. And don't be emotionally involved with it.
Thanks, girlfriend.
Yes.
Hi, Susie. Thanks for coming to Google. My question's about credit cards.
Yes.
So I've had a bunch of credit cards since college, and they're all the banks that you hate. Chase, Citi, etc. Offer me no benefits. There's no points. There's no airline miles. There's nothing. Interest rates, terrible. So
Yes.
I don't even carry a balance on them, but I keep hearing from different financial people that says you have to keep your credit cards for 10,
All right, so
15,
let me
20
tell you
years.
exactly how FICO works. Do all of you know what a FICO score is? Does anybody not? You don't. All right, we have one honest person and two. Now we have two honest people. All right, let's try this again. Who doesn't know what a FICO score is really? 2, 3, 4, I love it, great. You see how it is when it comes to money? You know, we're all such financial fakers. All right, but here's the thing. Every single one of you, whether you know it or not, if you have a credit card, you have something known as a FICO score. A FICO score is a 3-digit number that determines the interest rates that you will pay on credit cards, car loans, home mortgages. In many states, not here in California, it also determines what your car insurance premium is, whether an employer will hire you and a landlord will rent to you. It is like your financial SAT score. The higher your FICO score, the lower your interest rates. The lower your FICO score, the higher your interest rates. FICO scores run from 300 to 850. Anything below 500, you are just seriously FICO'd. Got that? Okay. From 500 to 850, there are different ranges. Every single one of you, because of the credit crisis, you want to find yourself in the range of 760 to 850. If you are not in that range, good luck qualifying for a mortgage. Good luck doing anything today that's involved with credit. What keeps your FICO score up and what brings it down? 35% of your FICO score is made up of your credit utilization ratio, or your debt to credit limit. If you have 5 credit cards, each with a $2,000 credit limit on it, even if it's from Citi, Chase, Bank, and all those others. And by the way, Wells Fargo, we can add that in there right now. Oh, sorry, everybody. They so hate me, I can't tell you. But you know what? I personally, again, don't care, right? So you have 5 of these credit cards, each with a $2,000 credit limit. That's $10,000 of a credit limit. If you owe $2,000 on each one of these cards, you have a $10,000 debt to a $10,000 credit limit. That's 100% debt to credit limit ratio. Down the tubes will go your FICO score. But as you are getting smart and you're paying off your credit cards, you paid off $2,000 here, $2,000 here, $2,000 here, $2,000 here, and all you have is one credit card with $2,000 left. You now owe $2,000 to a $10,000 credit limit. That's a 20% debt to credit limit ratio. If you and that's good. If you close down these 4 credit cards, you now owe $2,000 on a $2,000 credit limit. That's 100% debt to credit limit ratio. Down goes your FICO score again. Here's what you need to do. Your FICO score, and I know this very well because I have a partnership with Fair Isaac Corporation, so listen to me. Do not listen to other people who talk about this. This is how it works. Your cards, as you have them, start to get divided into cards that are active and cards that are inactive. The cards that are inactive, eventually, even if you have them and you're never using them, tend to stop being in the FICO formula. So you want to keep those cards active. And the way that you keep them active is maybe every 6 months, go out there and charge $5 on each one, pay it off at the end of the month. 6 months later, charge $5 again, pay it off at the end of, when you get the bill. And that now puts those cards in the active category. Therefore, your credit limit is huge. Your credit limit to the debt that you may owe on the cards that you really use then will be better, which improves your FICO score. So I would keep them if I were you. Also, right, for those of you who have only an American Express card, and you have an American Express card that does not make you, pay it off every month, but that makes you you have an American Express card that makes you pay it off every month. That's known as a charge card. Those are not figured in your FICO score, just so you know. Oh, really? Uh-huh. All right, so if you want a better FICO score, you need credit cards that give you a credit limit and that allow you to pay them off every single, as you want them, either every single month if you want, but you can carry your balance over time, unlike American Express that makes you pay it off in full. So just know, an American Express card does not add to your FICO score if it's a charge card. Next, for those of you who may be really screwed up, maybe you're really screwed up when you were younger, although you can't be much younger than many of you are. All right, but anyway, is that if you've been behind on payments, and those payments now have gone over 120 days, or you have things that you've never paid for, if you think you're going to help your FICO score by going back and cleaning up your record, you won't. Because after 120 days, the longer something is on your credit report, the less it affects your FICO score. It's already been calculated in your score, and they continue to discontinue looking at it. So if you have a choice of paying off a credit card that you're 30 days late on versus a credit card that has not been paid in a year, pay the one off that you're 30 days late on. Because anything from 120 days or sooner are the ones that are calculated. Did that make sense? All right, yes.
So given that the real estate market is going down, is this a good time? Do you think it's a good time to buy a house right now?
This is a good time to buy a piece of real estate if and only if you get a steal of a deal. And I mean a serious steal of a deal, so that if we're wrong, and it does, because I think we've bottomed here, but if we're wrong and it goes down another 5, 10, 15%, you won't be underwater. If and only if you have at least 20% to put down. If the only way that you can buy a house is through an FHA loan where you're putting 3.5%, 4% down, are you kidding me? They're going to go bankrupt. They are out of their minds right now. So you want to make sure you have at least 20% to put down, and this is mandatory. Not only do you have to be able to afford the mortgage payment, the property taxes, the insurance, and the maintenance on the house, but you want to make sure that you have that 8-month emergency fund as well. Why? Listen, everybody, the government has been very lenient on everybody. Currently, if you own a home and it's your primary residency, let's say you owe $200,000 on it. All right, I get we're in California, but just play with me here for a second, right? And you could only sell the house for $100,000. The banks now will let you sell that house, in many cases, not all, for the $100,000. It's called a short sale, because when you sell it, you're $100,000 short of what you owe the banks. And they're fine with that. They call it even. Currently, though, you do not have to pay taxes on the difference between what you sold it for and what you owe the banks. Starting in 2013, you will owe the banks taxes. Sorry, you will owe the IRS taxes on that money. It used to be that way, and then a few years ago, because of this crisis, they got rid of it. So if you find yourself where you've purchased a home, you've put 20% down, and that's a lot here. That is a lot. You're paying the mortgage, something happens to you, now you can't afford to pay the mortgage anymore. Now the price of real estate has gone down, you don't have an emergency fund to fall back on. Now you want to sell the house, you're going to be stuck paying taxes to the government if you have to sell that house for less than what you owe. So be very, very careful if you do it. Listen, everybody, I wish I could say to you, we are so out of trouble, we are so okay. I think, again, what you're going to see is you're going to see, all right, 2010, relatively okay. 2011, maybe okay. 2012, I think we hit right back to where we were. And 2012, 2013, we are in trouble again. Finally, 2014, 2015, we're maybe on solid ground for the first time. That's my own personal opinion. I so hope that I am wrong. I cannot even tell you. Yes?
Hey, Susie, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. So thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. I actually have two questions.
Yes.
If that's okay. The first one, we have a mortgage for which the 5-year interest rate is being reevaluated right now. And my husband says not to worry about it, and we cannot refinance. And I'm actually really worried about it. So
see, here's the thing. When your husband says, don't worry your pretty little head about it, I'm sure you have a husband who won't even ask for directions either, will he?
That's true, yeah.
Right? And then here you are, and you're sitting in the car, and you know you should turn left, and he turns right, and you don't say anything.
I do, yeah.
Oh, you do, but he still doesn't. But he still doesn't listen. Here is the key indicator. When you are worried about something, you need to do something about it.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you at that point. And it's not just, he says, don't worry, I'm worried. Whichever spouse is worried about something, that is the spouse that needs, or life partner, that is the person that needs to be honored. Because your worry or your fear is going to get in between the two of your sex life.
Okay.
Whatever.
Coworkers over there, just scratch this out.
Does he work here?
No.
All right, sorry. Okay. You never know what I'm going to do. But I would be worried.
Okay, question number 2.
You only get one. Goodbye. Just one. We have people here. One question is all I'm taking per person. I just want to say a few more things here, and then I'll go back to questions in a second, because we have 15 minutes left, because I've been told at 12 o'clock, you are out of here. It's over, Susie. God forbid they should spend another second of you off the clock. All right. But I guess you all come in here and eat. I think that's really what happens. But here's the thing. Your plan of action, because I just want to make sure that we get everybody in this room. Your plan of action needs to be after credit card is gone, and you've 401k plan up to the point of the match, 8-month emergency fund. I am telling you, after that point, if you want to buy a home, you need to start saving 20% for a down payment. After that point, If you then want to also start funding your retirement accounts, besides your 401k, rather than going back to your 401k after the point of the match, if you qualify for a Roth IRA, in my opinion, is the best way for you to be investing for your retirement, bar none. Does Google offer a Roth 401k? Right. I got news for you. You might want to think about, while tax brackets are still relatively low, you would be far better off contributing in a Roth 401k after the point of the match than an individual Roth, than a 401k where you are getting a tax deduction, and then a traditional IRA. Let me tell you why. Currently, as I stand here in front of you, we are at the lowest income tax brackets of your life. Many of you in this room do not remember the time when tax brackets were 90%. You made $1, 90 cents of every dollar you made went to the government. Then it went to 70%. 70 cents of every dollar you made went to the government. In the 80s, it was 50 cents of every dollar you made went to the government. Then we went down to 35%, and now here we are at relatively the lowest tax brackets in your lifetime. Does it make any sense for you to put money away in a pre-tax account, getting a 35% tax write-off today, when in the future, tax brackets for everybody, most likely, will have to go up, 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 and up for you to eventually withdraw that money at possibly the highest tax brackets of your life? I don't think it makes any sense to do that. Now, if there comes a time when tax brackets on you in your particular situation skyrocket, and you find that you are in the 50 or 60% tax bracket, then you are far better off putting your money in a regular 401k plan and a traditional IRA, because your tax breaks are so much larger at that time. Am I making sense? But currently, with tax brackets as low as they are, you are far better off putting your money in a Roth IRA where you could withdraw any amount of money that you originally put in without any taxes or penalties whatsoever, regardless of age. If you are 35 years of age and you put $5,000 this year into a Roth, $5,000 next year, $5,000 the year after, you've put $15,000 into a Roth IRA. And now that has grown to $16,000. And you get in trouble and you need money. You are 38 years of age. You can withdraw anything up to the original $15,000 that you put in without any taxes or penalties whatsoever. That's a big deal, people. That's a big deal. It's only the $1,000 that you earned that has got to stay in there for at least 5 years until you're 59 and a half. After 59 and a half, you can take all of it out without any taxes or penalties whatsoever. You have $500,000 in a Roth IRA. You have $500,000 in your 401k. You need to, for whatever reason, you want to withdraw $500,000 from your Roth after the age of 59, $500,000 stays in your pocket. If you have $500,000 in a 401k and for whatever reason you withdraw it all at once, you will pay income tax on that. Good luck with California and federal if you keep $250,000 in your pocket. Give up little amounts of money today so that in the future you take the what-ifs out of your life. So if you qualify for a Roth IRA, who qualifies for a Roth IRA? If you are single, so you're not married, you're not with partner, you're single, you're finally single, you can contribute a full $5,000 to a Roth IRA if you make under $105,000 a year of adjusted gross income. Once you make over $120,000 a year, you no longer qualify for a Roth. If you are married, finally, jointly, $166,000, you can put in the full $5,000. If you're under 50, $6,000, by the way, if you're 50 or older. Once you are at 176,000, you no longer qualify for a Roth IRA. Got that? So if you qualify, something for you to think about. By the way, since I'm talking about it, on your seats happens to be a gift to all of you, where if you want to open up a Roth IRA, I have my own account at a brokerage firm. It's not going to cost you anything. It's a way for you to be able to invest small amounts of money, commission-free, and get professional guidance as to what exchange-traded funds you should buy and all kinds of things. However, the truth of the matter is, if all you're doing is investing in your 401k plan here, you're just fine. This is only for people after you're at the point of the match here, after you're out of credit card debt, after you have an 8-month emergency fund, and after you've bought a home. And if you haven't done all those, throw this thing away or give it to somebody who's in that situation. Got that? All right, next question. Oh, Jeff, yes.
Hey, Susie. We've got a question that was sent in from our Santa Monica office from Marty Bryant. And Marty asks, I'm 30 and I've been very good about contributing to my 401k and not racking up debt, but I'm scraping by. I own a townhouse that's underwater and can't refinance since it's an investment property. What advice can you share to get in better financials? My mortgage is $2,200 and market rent is $1,500.
All right, so what was his name?
Marty Bryant.
Marty, we got problems. No, we got big problems. Because did you notice how he said it was investment property? If you are underwater on investment property, which means you owe more than what the property can be sold for, which is this situation, if you sell it, now the government wants their income tax on the difference because it was an investment piece of property versus a primary residency. So he is going to owe taxes on that unless he is technically insolvent. So it just, and if he's working here, he probably isn't necessarily technically insolvent. Marty should contact a CPA who really knows what he's doing in this situation to see how can they set things up for Marty to sell it and not get screwed by the IRS. One other thing that I just want to say, because we have 6 minutes left, so I think I'm just going to end without any more questions. I'm so sorry, okay. Right, is this, every single one of you in this room, you are living in the state of California. Number one, the state of California is a community property state. If in fact you are married, you have got to be out of your mind if you do not own your property or stock portfolios outside of your retirement accounts. If you do not own them in community property, you are nuts. In the state of California, you can own them community property with right of survivorship. That's number one. Number two, every single one of you in this room should not only have a will, but you should have a revocable living trust. I don't care how young you are, I don't care how much credit card debt you have, anything can happen at any time. A living revocable trust is a great way, obviously, to pass your assets to those who you may be leaving your money to. But it does more than just that. If you become incapacitated, you're in a car accident, something happens to you, who's going to pay your bills for you? Who's going to take care of your money for you? If you do not have a living revocable trust with an incapacity clause in it, I'm here to tell you, you are making one of the biggest mistakes out there. It's not what you put in your retirement account. It's not what Google stock is. It's not how much your paycheck is, what your piece of property is. It's what are you doing to protect yourself, people. Now, there's so many things that I could have talked to you about. For instance, all of you should only have term insurance. There is no reason any of you in this room, unless you have some estate tax planning problem, which some of you may have, but the majority of you don't, none of you should have whole life, universal, or variable life insurance. The only type of life insurance you should have is term insurance, and you have a great term insurance program and insurance program here right at Google. But if you need more than what they offer you here, term insurance is the way to go. For those of you who want to save for your children's college education, the best way to do so is through a 529 savings plan. Savingforcollege.com, the site by Joseph Hurley, is the place to go to get that information. So in a very short period of time, we kind of gave you a plan of action. Invest in your 401k plan up to the point of the match. After the point of the match, then either pay down your credit card debt if you have credit cards at a credit union, creditcardconnection.org. Or if you're going to stay at these banks, 8-month emergency fund. After either one, you need an 8-month emergency fund. Get yourself out of debt. Again, 401k plan up to the point of the match. 20% savings to buy a home if that is what you want to do. If not, a Roth IRA, fabulous, term life insurance, and all of those things are your plan of action. Do not be afraid for these markets to continue to go down. You should be hoping that the stock market goes down, down, down. You are all young. Why would you want to be buying Google stock at $600 a share when you could be buying it at $500? Right? The lower it goes, the more shares you buy. The more shares you buy, the more money that you make. Got it, everybody? So do not be afraid. The only mistake that you will make is if you stop investing month in and month out. The only way to be investing right now is through dollar cost averaging. Now, I only have 1 minute left, so I'm going to end on time. But I had written 10 things for you, because you know how you have these 10, what are they called? Yeah, 10 things we found to be true for Google. You know how you all have that? Do you all know what those are? Have you memorized all those? If you haven't, you are fired. Sergey told me to tell you that. Right? So I just want to say, money is a lot like the ethics and the things that are true in Google. So I wrote my own 10 things that I know to be true according to Google standards when it comes to money. Number 1, focus on people and money will follow. Number 2, it is better to do nothing than something you do not understand. When it comes to money, if somebody is talking above your head and you don't get it, just do nothing. Never talk yourself into trusting anybody when it comes to money. Do you hear me, people? Trust yourself more than you trust others. Number 3, being rich is better than being poor. 4, democracy and the deficit, let's pray it works. 5, you don't need to be on Wall Street to make money. Number 6, you can make money without doing evil. That one we are right in sync with. Number 7, there's always more money to be made out there, and that is true, even during times like this. 8, the need for money crosses all borders. Just like your information does, so does money. 9, and I have to tell you, this is my favorite. You can be the world's personal finance expert without ever wearing a suit or being a man. Yes. And number 10, being wealthy is just not good enough. It is what you do with that wealth that counts. I hope you found this useful. I hope you watch the Suze Orman Show every Saturday night on CNBC. And Google, you stay safe. Thank you.